problem. So what is then the solution?
What is the solution? So
What is the solution?
that's why you are the doctor in this.
Yeah, thank you, sir. First and foremost, I also want to thank Mr. Sam Ceesay, for that insightful perspectives that he has brought to the conversation we are having. Yeah, there is always a way out, and I believe you will recall that Plato. I used to tell my students, that Plato is one of the ancient Greek philosophers, political philosophers. There's something he said, and he said that one of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you will end up being governed by your inferiors.
Mm. And which is true.
Uh, so what that means is that one of the way, yes, out of this is this. Number one, Gambians in diaspora, people like you, sir, with due respect, who knows how elected leaders can be held accountable, should not distance yourself too far from the political arena of the Gambia. I know sometimes, the all politics is local, and sometimes you know, the political space, may have been too toxic that if you are coming, if you are not, if you are somebody with faint heart, you will not be able to survive, because politicians in Africa can do a lot of things in order to place to power. In Nigeria, our former president once said on national television, that was in 2007 when he was campaigning for, his successor in office. And I mean, former president Olusegun Obasanjo. He said, for me and my party, the presidential election, the forthcoming presidential election, is going to be a do or die affair. He said this thing, on national TV, to the global audience. And I know that the political environment in most African countries emblematize what Obasanjo actually said. And that makes it very, 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 very difficult, for people who actually have passion to serve the people to come on board, and especially diaspora, to come on board. Because coming on board is that you also need to, be afraid of your safety, safety of life, safety of property. But if we love our country, I think there are many ways we can those diaspora, because one thing I have discovered about, Gambia, like you rightly said, and Nigeria also was once, at this stage of political process or political development, is something that has to do with the political culture of the people. Gabriel Amod and Sidney Vaber. These are two American, professors of political science. They came up that the types of governance that you have in every society is a function of the prevailing political culture in that society. And in their own view, they came up with three, political cultures. Number one is parochial political culture. What is parochial political culture? Parochial political culture is when ordinary people, ordinary citizens, sometimes do not even know, about the activities of government. They don't even believe that they have the power or the right to engage government, or that they can even hold government to account. So they live within the pristine of their own natural existence. What is uppermost in them is to ache for their living daily, what they can feed, they can clothe, they can house themselves, send their children to school. It doesn't matter who is in government, what government is doing right, or what government is not doing right. So that is parochial political culture. The second layer of political culture that can be prevalent in any society is also what Almore and Vaber, call the subjective political culture. When you have this kind of political culture, citizens are aware of government, they are aware of its functions, they are aware of what they as citizens, the responsibilities that they have, to hold the government to account. They know all of this, but they have this conviction that their opinions will not count, their opinions will not matter even when you say it government, those in government, would still have their way. So, and because of that, they become lackadaisical, in getting involved, holding government to account. And then the third one is now participant political culture. That is the one that is mostly preponderant in most advanced democratic society, like the United States. This one, the citizens believe they are quite aware of the functions of government, the responsibilities of government, and their own responsibilities as citizens. And they know that they have the power and the capacity to hold government and those elected, to account. So now, when you have the first two political culture dominate, it gives room, for unaccountable governance. It means that politicians, can act like a bull in the Chinese shop. They can do anything they like because they know that the citizens are incapacitated, either by their own non-consciousness of, the power they have got as citizens, to hold them to account, or they know quite well that maybe because of the kind of politics, prevalent in that society, citizens are afraid that they cannot hold government, to account. And if you look at Gambia is vacillating between the parochial political culture and the subjective political culture. That participative political culture is not there. And there are factors responsible for this. Number one is that, for 22 years, Gambia was under the rule of one man, former President Jammeh. And when you have individuals staying in power to that extent, now people will know that, look, this person is state. There's no difference between Gambia and Jammeh. And because of that, they will give up this, and given that, especially if the government becomes a government that, is still fear in people, either through indiscriminate arrest, muzzling the opposition, you know, curtailing freedom of speech and all of that, it becomes, dangerous to citizens to participate in politics. Gambia has that culture, or has that history of, having a strong man rather than a strong, institution that will checkmate the conduct of their political office holders, for the period of 22 years. And, if you look at Gambia gained independence in 1965 and became a republic in 1960, I think 67 or so. And then from that time till now, only three head of state, only three leaders, is to tell you that, Gambia has a problem of, the political space not really, conducive for citizens to actually hold their government to account. And then also, and it's a problem of Africa now. This is not only Gambia.
Yeah, right.
We also play politics of ethnicity, you know.
And tribal.
Um,
Yeah.
so we have that in Nigeria also. We have that in many, societies in Africa. Once you have a leader from one particular ethnic group, whether he's doing the right thing or he's not doing the right thing, those who are from the same ethnic group with that candidate, they will not see anything because they believe that it is our own turn. Then politics in Africa, vis-a-vis Gambia, becomes turn by turn kind of politics. It is the turn of Jola yesterday, now is the turn of Mandinka. So if it is the turn of Fola tomorrow, then, that kind of politics, it becomes then the people become, divided. And when the house is divided against itself, it cannot stand. So holding government to account becomes very, very difficult. And for me now, the way forward to all of this is this. Number one, like I said, is that it behoves on Gambians, um, who knows about, how to hold government to account, the intelligentsia, especially, and, those who have the capacity, because it's a function of, politics is also about, it's the highest service to a nation. That is what Plato and Aristotle said. It's the highest service that you can offer to your country, is to stand in the defense of the values, of that country. So if you have majority of citizens, that are lacking in capacity to hold the people to account. Of course, those who are in vantage position to do that can do that on behalf of the people. Is you may know, you may not, maybe at the end of the day, it is not that you are going to, maybe do much to change these people, but putting them on their toes, knowing that there are those who knows, how good governance should be attained, and they are on the spotlight. They are, on those people. It makes them to behave well. For example, there is this media outlet, What's on Gambia. What's on Gambia is doing that. Whether we like it or not, most politicians in the Gambia are conscious. Maybe the way with which, and then a medium like this, one thing politicians don't like is to be brought to the spotlight. They don't like it, you know. So once they know that there is a watchdog watching them, watching their steps, watching their activities, it will help. It's another way of trying to help them, or help the people to make their leaders to be accountable. That is one area. Then the second area is the media. The media is the fourth realm, of the estates. That is what John Madison said, that it is even better to have a media in a society than not having a media and have the three organs of government. Because there can be conspiracy, among the three organs of government, the conspiracy of the elite against the distant. But the media is the one that, should hold these people to account by through, objective reportage. They will now serve as a link between the governed and those who are governing, the leaders. So it then means that, we can take advantage of the liberalization of the media space in the Gambia, especially under Barrow. I was not here, during the time of Jammeh, but from what we have read during the time of, Jammeh, the media space was censored. So citizens don't have, this kind of, freedom to express their view, about government as they are doing now. So we have read that, and in some literature, they even tag the Jammeh as a dictator, as a strong man, and all of that. So media should also play a very conscious role in this regard by holding the government, to account on behalf of the voiceless majority of Gambians who are, incapacitated to do that. Then the third one also is civil society organization. Civil society have to be alive to their responsibility, because civil society becomes, the aggregators. They are not only the aggregators of demands that people can make. They should, sensitize the people. Media can sensitize the people. Civil society can sensitize the people. Even the Gambians, using the platform like the new global media to also sensitize the people that you have this right. Because sometimes if we don't engage the people and let them know, they may not even know, that they have the power to make change. Because, like I quoted Gabriel Ahmad and Sidney Weber the other time, one of the effective ways of replacing parochial and subjective political cultures in a society and make that society participatory, political culture participatory, is the role of media, is the role of the intelligentsia, is the role of the advocacy groups like the civil society, sensitize the people, that you have this right. And once you do that, of course, the people will become conscious that they have this thing and they'll begin to make demands. So civil society organizations serve as, gatekeepers between the people and the government. Once we have this vibrant civil society organization, the media that is not pandering to the whims and caprices of the political elites in society, and the intellectuals and, the Gambians in diaspora, people like you, who knows the way and how government, should be responsible to the people, coming together, forming synergy, to make this demand on behalf of the people of Gambia, ordinary people of Gambia, on government. It will make them to sit up. It will make them to sit up. These are other way, coupled with, election, that election, should be a reward and punishment for the occupiers of public office. People have to know that. I know the issue of monetizing politics is an African problem. Sometimes people don't even know. In Nigeria, for example, you will hear people complaining, this government is bad, government is not doing what it's supposed to do. But at every election, you find out that Nigerians keep making mistake, because when these politicians come, they understand the sensibility of the people. They offer money, they offer money for immediate gratification. They collect this money and then they vote these same people back again. And then at every cycle of governance in the country, you hear people complaining about bad governance, about unrepresentative governance, in the society. The way to break, the jinx, in my own view, in addition to, using election as either punishment or as a reward for performing or non-performing members of parliament, is also to encourage the Gambians in diaspora to, participate in politics. Participating in politics does not necessarily mean, you having to come from the United States to contest for this election. Because sometimes, I know if you say that, many people may not want to, even come to do that. But through the engagement like you are doing, you have already taken that responsibility upon yourself, because I know there will be many listeners who will be listening to us and who will form opinion, based on what they're listening to, or you are giving them opportunity that ordinarily many of them may not have. So you are doing your own, you are making your own contribution in that regard. And so when we do all of this, and they also work in concert with other partners, international partners, I believe that if we put all of these variables together, it will help us to achieve the kind of representative democracy that will be truly reflective of the interests of majority of Gambian electorate, and not those of the elite or the political class. So if we have this, I believe that is actionable measures that can be way forward to go.
Thank you.